It started as a dream come true. My wife Rowan and I had finally moved into Bravaro, an exclusive gated community lauded for its pristine streets and lush gardens. The kind of place you see in brochures, perfectly manicured lawns, white picket fences, and neighbors waving from their porches. But beneath the veneer of suburban bliss lurked an unimaginable horror. Our first day was filled with excitement and a flurry of unpacking. We were greeted warmly by the community's head, Irene, a sprightly woman with an ever-present smile. She handed us a welcome packet and a leaflet that left us both puzzled and uneasy. My dear Owen and Rowan, welcome to Bravaro. Our community thrives on harmony and peace, upheld by a few simple rules. Most important one, and the only one you must strictly follow, is this: no laughing after dark. This is not about noise levels, but a matter of utmost importance. Please respect this rule without exception. Sincerely, Irene Bravaro Hope. We laughed at the absurdity. No laughing after dark. What kind of ridiculous rule was that? It seemed more like a quirky, over-the-top OA regulation than anything sinister. Little did we know how deadly serious it was. The first couple of days were uneventful. We settled in, met some neighbors, and started to feel at home. But the atmosphere changed as soon as the sun dipped below the horizon. The air grew thick with an inexplicable tension, a silent warning that crawled up our spines. On our third night, the unthinkable happened. We were watching a comedy show on TV, our laughter echoing through the house. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the TV screen went black. We were plunged into darkness. The silence that followed was suffocating. A cold, guttural voice broke the silence. No laughing after dark, it whispered, chilling us to the bone. Rowan and I clung to each other, our hearts pounding. We stumbled through the darkened house, trying to make sense of what was happening. The feeling of being watched was overwhelming. Desperate for answers, I called Irene the next morning. Her cheerful demeanor from before was gone, replaced by a grave tone. Mr. Neville, I warned you. The rule is not to be broken. The consequences are severe. What do you mean, Irene? I demanded, my voice trembling. What happens if we laugh after dark? Her silence was deafening. Finally she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. Those who break the rule, they don't last long here. It's not us who enforce it. It's something else, something ancient. Fear gripped me as I hung up the phone. Roe and I decided then and there to leave Bravaro. We packed our bags and moved to a hotel, but selling the house proved impossible. There was no escaping Bravaro's grasp that easily. The next night at the hotel, the terror followed us. We heard whispers in the dark, saw shadows moving just beyond the edge of our vision. The sense of being watched never left us. It was as if the very rule of Bravaro had latched onto our souls, dragging us back to its cursed streets. Determined to uncover the truth, I delved into the history of Bravaro. I discovered a chilling legend dating back centuries. The land where Bravaro now stood was once home to a cult that worshipped a malevolent entity. They believed laughter during the night would summon this entity, bringing doom upon them. The cult had long vanished, but the fear they instilled lingered, morphing into the community's eerie rule. Haunted and desperate, we sought help from a paranormal investigator. He confirmed our worst fears. The entity feeds on joy and laughter after dark, he explained. It's bound to the land, and it will not rest until it consumes all who defy the rule. With no other options, we returned to Bravaro, hoping to confront the horror head-on. That night, as the last rays of the sun vanished, we sat in silence, holding our breath. The minutes felt like hours, and then it came. A shadowy figure materialized in our living room, its presence suffocating. It had no discernible features, just a void of darkness. The temperature dropped, and the air crackled with malevolent energy. We were paralyzed with fear. Rowan, in a moment of sheer terror, let out a nervous giggle. The entity turned towards her, and I could feel its rage. I pulled her close, whispering for her to stay silent, but it was too late. The figure loomed over us, its presence overwhelming. Just as I thought we were doomed, I remembered the investigator's words. The entity thrived on joy, but it was bound by ancient rules. Summoning every ounce of courage, I spoke directly to it. We understand the rule. We will never laugh after dark again. The entity paused, as if considering my plea. Slowly, it began to retreat, dissolving into the shadows. The oppressive weight lifted, and the room warmed. We were alive, but the warning was clear. From that night on, we adhered strictly to the rule. We never laughed after dark. The horror of Bravaro was contained, but the fear never left us. We knew that one slip, one moment of forgetfulness, would bring the entity back. Blabbera was our home, but it was also our prison. A place where laughter could summon an unspeakable terror. We were trapped in a beautiful nightmare, forever watching the horizon and dreading the fall of night. And so to anyone considering a move to Bravero, heed this warning. No matter how perfect it seems, remember the rule. For once the sun sets, the cost of a single laugh could be your very soul. Regrets linger like shadows in our minds, haunting us with the what-ifs of our pasts. Today I share a chilling tale born from my own unanswered questions. For years, a persistent what-if gnawed at me buried deep in my thoughts like an unquiet spirit. What if we had faced the truth head-on? This story is part recollection, part confession, unfolding with eerie details that defy belief. I invite you to decide for yourselves what to believe, but for me this is a quest for redemption. It began innocently enough during a routine basement cleaning session with my wife Jane. Amidst discarded items, I stumbled upon an unexpected find. A dusty Ouija board. Neither of us recalled owning it, and Jane, usually averse to such things, was uneasy. Initially dismissive, I couldn't shake the idea of reaching out to lost loved ones. Desperate for closure, I hesitated, then resolved to use the board secretly during Jane's work hours. What started as a quest for solace soon turned into an addiction. Night after night, I delved into conversations with departed souls, family, friends, and even unknown spirits. It became my refuge, a bittersweet connection to the beyond. Yet, my fascination took a chilling turn one fateful night. Summoning spirits as usual, I encountered Grace, a name etched on the planchette. Disquieted, I questioned, only to receive cryptic replies urging return. Bread seeped in as candles flickered and a cold wind snuffed them out. An icy grip, a whispered command. Run. I fled upstairs, silent about my terror to shield Jane from fear. That night, disturbed by the ordeal, I sought solace in sleep, only to be jolted awake by incessant phone calls at 3 a.m. Grace flashed on my screen, a name I had encountered on the board. Each call, each attempt to block her, only intensified the haunting. Jane, awakened and alarmed, faced the inexplicable. Despite turning off my phone, calls persisted, static-filled and unnerving. Grace's spoke, a chilling echo from the other side, refusing to be silenced. The revelation struck us both with a horrifying realization. Grace, our deceased daughter, was reaching out. A past tragedy, long buried, had resurfaced, demanding acknowledgement and perhaps reckoning. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed the chills, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.